Hey, this is Dylan with eartrainingforguitar.com, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can train your ear to hear intervals. And if you have tried training your ear to hear intervals before and you feel like it's slow, boring, you're even using an ear training app where you're listening to these intervals over and over and over and you feel like it's just not getting anywhere, I know how you feel. But in this video, I'm going to show you how you can get past that and start seeing big gains in your ear training and getting better and better and better every single time you do it. Now, before I show you how to think about intervals and hear them and train on it, I first want to show you a wrong way to do it. So you can either stop doing it if you're making this mistake or completely avoid it. Now, this wrong way of doing it is by relating songs to intervals. Okay, so for instance, if I play a perfect fifth, right? A lot of people will think that this is Star Wars. Which it is. In that melody, it goes root to fifth. The problem with thinking the fifth is Star Wars or relating it to any other song is that it's not always going to act like that in real music. When you're listening to a melody or a chord progression and you're trying to pick out where Star Wars is, it doesn't really work in the long term. It doesn't work in actual musical context. Right? So in the short term, it'll help you identify intervals right away, but then it's going to really hurt you in the long term when you start transcribing actual music. So avoid this at all costs. Do not relate songs to intervals. The correct way to think about intervals when you're listening to them and how they actually work in a musical context is you need to listen to their function and feeling. Oh, every single interval has a certain feeling and function to it when you hear it. All right, so for instance, if I play a seventh, a major seven, this is very tense. A lot of tension. Okay? You play them together, you can even say that this sounds creepy, right? And it has a very strong pull to the one. It wants to resolve, right? So when you hear a seventh, you want to be listening out for that feeling and that function. Now, the thing is though, is we're all different. So you may hear a fifth and you may think it's this feeling and I might think it's a different feeling. It doesn't matter. We can all have our own different feelings attached to the intervals, but you just want to figure out what you think it is, how you feel like that interval is doing. So what you need to do is you need to grab your guitar, you need to hit the root. Key doesn't matter. That's the great thing about this is the functions and feelings and everything stay the same no matter what key you're in. All right, so you hit your root and then you hit an interval after that. Like I just hit the second here, okay? And then you play it a couple times. And then you just write down what is the feeling of that interval. Now, here is a big problem with this. A lot of the times when people do this is they will play the interval, but then they will have no idea what feeling it is. Like, I have no idea. It's just a sound. I have no idea what this feels like, the function, or anything like that. So here's what you can do to fix that. Get a big list of emotions in front of you. You can create your own emotions. You can write a huge list out. You can go and search a list of emotions, whatever. And when you're listening to it, you just look at your list and then you attach the emotion to it. All right, and you just do this multiple times. So, and if you play, like let's say you play the fourth and you're listening to it, you look at your list and you're not sure what it is, we'll move on and then come back to it. You're gonna wanna do this multiple times over and over and over to really hone in on the feelings and functions that you think each interval has. Now I know this is a lot of work in the front end. You're gonna have to listen to every single one. You have to do it multiple times. You have to figure out the emotions and go through it. It's a lot of front end work, but when you're done, you are done. For the rest of your ear training days, you are going to have this list. You're going to know what emotions attach to every single interval, and you're going to really be able to start training your ear to hear intervals the right way. Now, after you've done this a little bit or you've completed it, leave a comment below. What emotions do you feel like each interval has? What do you feel like the fifth has, the seventh have? Leave a comment below and let us know how you feel like each interval feels and how it functions. Now, how to practice this? Okay, so a great way to practice this that I like doing is I actually create multiple recordings for myself. So I will, and you don't have to have fancy recording equipment or anything like that. Just use your phone. I have all of the equipment, but I use my phone. It's the easiest. I can listen to it through the day. And what you do is you will hit the root, again, any key you want, and then you play an interval. Now you play this anywhere between 2 to 4 times. And then you say the answer, perfect fifth. And then you do it with another one. And then you say third, right? And the reason that you're playing it 3 times is because when you listen back on it, you're giving yourself a chance to listen and hear and make a guess of what the interval is, okay? And also, I like giving the answers in the recording instead of having like them written down somewhere. Is one, if you lose it, now all of your answers are gone. And 2, I can listen to it in the car, I can listen to it throughout my day, and then I give myself the answers. And once you feel comfortable with just doing 1 interval, then have 2 intervals going, 3 intervals, and so on. And you just keep building it up. Now, one thing to do though is don't just create 1 or 2 recordings, because eventually you are just going to memorize the answers. Have like 12 recordings, have a ton of them. So it's impossible for you to memorize the answers and what's coming next. So that is the correct way to train intervals and start practicing it. And if you found this video helpful, subscribe to the channel, like the video so you can start seeing more content like this.